Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the final word. Everton 4, Brentford 1. A return to happier times at Goodison Park, Baz. Wasn't it just nice? Wasn't it just lovely?
Isn't this only, I'm bolting on to something you said, January.
Yeah.
This is only the second time on a Monday since the 27th of September we've been able to.
First time on a Monday at a home game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Since the 27th of September,
yeah.
Since the Norwich game.
Incredible.
That we've been to City and be able to have a smile on our faces.
It was nice. It was very nice. It was very positive, and it was nice just coming in today and knowing we had a victory to talk about. And not only a victory, because we had a victory to talk about after we beat Hull in the last round, but it was a extra time. You know, great goal from Andrew Townsend, but we'd struggled, whereas Saturday we were in control, and it's been a long time since we've been in control of a game and being there. And first time we've been present at Goodison, scoring 4 goals since United. Beat United 4-0, I think. Because obviously we got 5 against West Brom and 4 against West Ham last year, but none of us were there. So since we beat Man United 4-0 in April 2019, I think, was the first time we'd seen Everton score 4 goals at home. So, been a while.
Yeah, it was. It has been a while, and no, it was just nice. It was a nice atmosphere. It was a nice, a lot of people taking the kids for the first time, and a lot of people who don't get to go to games because of obviously season ticket holders having the tickets and stuff. And it created a nice
energy, didn't it?
Yeah, it created a nice bit of energy, like nice bit of anticipation and for the game. And of course, listen, the team sheet didn't necessarily reflect better times straight away. It was, the same players. We knew we didn't have Dom. And when you seen the team sheet, you weren't, again, it was that thing of like, well, who's playing where? What's the setup? And I know...
Were you a bit disappointed?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't at all, because the limitations of the squad are there.
Disappointed is probably not the right word. Were you surprised he went with 3 at the back? I was. I've got to admit, driving to the game and seeing the team, I was like, okay, so we've gone 3 at the back. Because I thought maybe we play 4-3-3. But
listen, we get a new manager. You don't know what to expect. You don't know how they're thinking. You don't know how it's going to be different from the last guy, or whether it's going to be different from the last guy.
Yeah.
And that to me was the major thing. It was just like, go into the game and let's just see what happens. Let's see how we set up and let's see where they were. And of course it takes time, and I thought the game itself, I thought the players took a little bit of time to understand exactly where they were playing and what their roles were, and whether, because it's about confidence, isn't it? It's about giving the players confidence and them taking it and being able to do it. And I thought once we settled down in this game, we were fine. But, there's always that thing of like, you see the team sheet, and this is what always annoys me about an element of people who react when they see a team sheet, is that look at the bench. Look at the bench and tell me who in that team could have started this game. Now, Yerry Mina, of course, could have and ends up coming on quite early. But then you've got to put into perspective, well, there's 2 league games this week. And we know what he's like. We know how you've got to manage him. And I always look at the team sheet, look at the bench and think, who in that bench is coming on this pitch and is improving this team?
It's quite a strong bench for us.
It was a strong bench.
Compared to like some of the benches we've seen, and at times we had like 7 subs at Wolves, 6 subs at Wolves. Whatever.
Do you think that reflects, though, the manager coming in and thinking, right, well, these are my senior players, and they're all going to get a clean slate. So therefore, I'm not going to judge a Tosin, I'm not going to judge an Iwobi, I'm not going to judge whoever else. I'm just going to play them, and the kids' time will come. Because for me, the number one thing about the team was Jordan Pickford played. That was the number one thing for me. First game, we're going strong. We're going to go as strong as we can, and Jordan Pickford is playing. And that to me was the thing of like, no, I'm not messing about today. And no matter what anything else happened in the team, that to me was the strongest thing.
It sets the mood, I think.
Yeah.
When you leave and that's nothing against Begovic, who was good at Hull. Made 2 big saves at Hull, didn't he? At 1-0, and I think it was 3-2, the other big save. Nothing against him, but I think when you seen Pickford was in goal, you were like, right, yeah, we mean business, And I think, because that's just the way it is. It's you know, if you're number 2 goalie and you're thinking I might play at the weekend, obviously there's that side of it. But I think as a fan base, you don't ever. We've been to too many of those cup games where the team's much changed, and I think that gives the fans the wrong message as well at times. I think we're all a bit like, oh, they're not that serious about this, or they're not that. And I think having Jordan Pickford in, because it's what's really important, and what was really important for Frank Lampard was building up momentum, going on as, you know, starting as he means to go on. And that comes from having your first choice keeper in, get your goalie in, get him used to how we want to do things. And quite early on, it was evident that he wants Pickford to be involved in building up. He didn't have his best game in terms of kicking. His accuracy, I think, was 58%, which he's done much better than certain games. But it was evident we were using him more, and the players were almost encouraging. That was what I found, and it was dead noticeable in the first 15 minutes or so, was how much they were encouraging each other to try to pass the ball. And even if it didn't go right, Alan was still clapping people, and I seen Godfrey clapping, for the 12 minutes he was on. But it was already from Pickford, from that team sheet, you're right, Pickford being on kind of set the mood, and everything else was secondary. The only one I was surprised at, and I shouldn't have been really, was I thought Patterson might play. Yeah. But I understand why Seamus played. Seamus was fine.
Of course you want. I think we all want this lad to do well. But also, don't put any pressure on him. You look at it. I suppose you look at it the wrong way. A lot of people look at it the wrong way and go, what have we bought? And it's like, well, what we've bought is a young talent. We've bought a young talent, so it's going to take a little bit of time. And he's got good senior players ahead of him. And on the other side, it's a little bit different because we've only got one left back, and now we haven't even got the left back cover who could play left back. We saw that by John Joe coming on.
Of course, yeah.
So
who done well when he
did come on. So Michaelenko is going to have to learn on the job, and we saw that just on Saturday. The difference between his first half and his second half, I thought confidence-wise was there was so much. I thought first half he didn't really want to go forward too much, but second half he went into. You seen him going into the box. So it's going to take time, and the manager's got to come in and assess it very quickly. 3 games in his first week, and I thought, for me, Saturday was just a case of go out, do the job, and let's see what happens. And like you said there, the football we tried to play in the first half, little bit, you know, wasn't quite on them.
I was hit and miss,
but then second half you saw the difference. You saw the control, you saw the confidence, you saw players suddenly going, oh God, this is what. Remember when we used to do this? Remember how we were brought up as footballers? This is enjoyable, and you saw them getting comfortable on the ball, and you saw them enjoying the ball, and the pressure being off. I mean, of course, goals take the pressure off, and that's why set pieces is such a big thing if you can score from set pieces. But it turned out to be just a really enjoyable game of football to watch as an Everton fan. Something that really we should be doing 5, 6, 7, 8 times a season without any issue with the players we've got.
Just winning games like that.
Just winning games easily, comfortably. I mean, and that's not me saying, going, oh, suddenly we're a brilliant team. Brentford are not a great side, and there's quite a few not great sides, and yet we've made those teams look incredibly cultured against us, and they're not. We went to Brentford and we got beat 1-0, and they were dross. We were poor, but they were poor. And too many times this season, those poor games we've let go the other way. We've been beaten. Norwich didn't do anything amazing against us. Watford didn't do anything amazing against us. Yet to go 5 goals against us. And on Saturday, what we did is have control, and that was the great part of it.
No, it was. The goals are lovely, of course. You know, being celebrating the fans was incredible. It was incredible again. You know, just that joy of scoring goals again. But it was the elements of control, and it was almost there was that early on. You know, we had a couple of chances in the first 10 minutes with Charlison on a good little run and put it wide with his left foot. Damari Gray went on a great little run, had the shot blocked, and we were on the front foot. But there was that little thing of like sometimes forcing the passing, But you could see that that's fine because the manager and the coaching staff have implemented that. That's what they want to do. It's really evident. We heard it in the training video. Play through the six.
Yeah.
Well, we were literally playing through the six because Alan was getting on the ball quite a lot. Him and Gomes, there was nice little angles. Yeah. They weren't afraid to come back and start again. And we just had that control about us. And I think the only criticism, if I've got a criticism, is that those two centre midfielders, when there's 10 yards in front of them, 15 yards, well, it's more Gomes. Alan does tend to attack the space. Is run into that space and have a shot. And when Gomes did do it, we end up getting a corner and we scored a goal off the corner. Yeah, yeah. And it was literally, it was a lovely little move. It went out to Mikalenko, we put it back into him, and instead of him, a couple of times, he turned and gone back to the halfway line. Confidence. And when you look behind, there was nobody there, he could have gone the other way.
Confidence though, isn't it? Again, that's confidence. But just talking about that midfield for a moment though, I think what that did illustrate the midfield, the way we played is, when people say, well, can Van der Beek and can Dele Alli play in our midfield together without the cover, I think what that showed is where Frank Lampard wants to go with it, how he wants to play, how he wants to keep control of a game, not necessarily needing an ultra defensive play. Yes, of course we'd love a Garner in there. Of course we'd love a real someone who's
Sangari.
But someone who almost becomes two players.
Yeah.
Whereas what it showed was with Gomes and Alan being what I liked about Saturday was when Alan went and pressed, other people went with him, and it really went through the sides. You saw Anthony Gordon doing it. You've seen Richarlison doing it. You started hunting in packs and wanting to take the ball off the team and thinking, if I win the ball back here, we've got a chance here. Not being like, if I win the ball back here, we're defending. It was like, if I win the ball back here, we're in. We're going to get 3-on-2 or whatever.
I imagine when you're playing football.
Do you imagine it? Because you've never played.
Oh, whenever I played football at any level, I always wanted to win and score goals. Yeah. So it was never in my mind. I never played in any team that I played in, ever. Because why would I? It was, let's try and get a point and sit behind the ball and don't do anything. Do you know what I mean? And you've got a certain type of manager that's what they wanted. We had one.
Yeah.
We had one. So what I was going to say was, I imagine when you're playing, if you're being told all the time, like, don't go, don't press forward, don't. I was saying this, I don't know whether I said it to you the other day, but saying it certainly to my dad and my mate, me and the match, and even selling Zach as well, is that you've got a manager there who tells you, and a coaching staff who tell you that you're not very good with the ball. You're not good enough to keep this ball. Then what does that do for your confidence? You don't want it. You end up just kicking the ball anyway because you're thinking, the message in your mind is, I can't give it away, that we're not good enough to keep it. Like, let's turn these, let's get it. We don't want it. We don't want it. And if you then go from that to a manager who comes in and goes, keep the ball. Yeah. When you play football in its purest form, as you just go and have a kick around with your mates to start, or whatever, the idea is for you to get the ball and it's to attack and try and score goals. And you all want to have your moment in the sun. You all want the ball. Give me the ball, and there might be 4 or 5 people around you want to try and dribble. And that's in most footballers, I am sure. And yet, you have someone who's telling you that you're not good enough to have that ball. What does that do for your confidence as a team? Where, we've heard Carlo Ancelotti say it, and we heard Rafa Benitez say it.
But do you think that was a time thing? No, do you think that's a time thing now in football, where it's like, it's all, because it's about, especially with Ancelotti, the pressure of getting results, making sure you get results, not trying to build something because you're trying to be impression. Maybe. And maybe the same with Benitez. I think it was slightly different because I think that's just his style. Whereas I do think with Ancelotti, it was a case of, we need results for now.
No, I'm not really criticising Carlo, because I think his view was probably that, and I think he was thinking, I want to get this team into Europe or whatever, and it was all very short term anyway.
Yeah, that's what I mean, yeah.
I think Benitez was much more the style.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Ancelotti, I imagine if he would have had world-class players, we would have played more on the front foot. I imagine that. But what I'm saying is, as a group of players, if the message you're getting is, we aren't good enough to play any other way other than this defensive way, you start believing it. If Carlo Ancelotti says, You aren't good enough to pass the football. You're going to believe him because you won everything. The difference in the sessions, though, from Carlo Ancelotti to Rafa Benitez were totally different. Mason Holgate's come out and basically hung him out to dry over the last day or so, saying the atmosphere was rubbish around the thing, and it's been energised by Frank Lampard, the training and all that. Different things have been said about the training sessions. You've seen it in athletic sources close to the first team and all of this kind of stuff. There's an energy about the place now. When you energise players and you say you are good enough to use the ball, you are. We've said loads of times, we've sat here and gone, why does our team look like 11 strangers? Why do these lads who are professional footballers on big money, why can't they pass a football? When other teams, like Brentford, notice I have loads of time for Brentford, the sound, you've come up and all that, they're lads who aren't at the quality of what Everton's players are, try to play football. How? I watched Boreham Wood passing the ball around at Bournemouth, they're a National League side, and yet I'm watching my team, Premier League team, with players on over 100 grand a week, because they must be decent footballers, looking like they don't know how to play the game. That can only be coming from the coaching staff, can't it? Yeah. And then Lampard's come in and his staff, and it's pass it, and we try to do it.
Well, that's what I mean by short term. That's what I mean. It's having that idea in your head that you will only win games by playing a certain way, and you have to win games because in the short term it's all about winning games. Whereas what I saw on Saturday, personally, was a concept of this is the way we're going to play. And I watched it develop from the first half to the second half and how much confidence we got from it. There's times, don't get me wrong, there's times in the game which were a little bit hairy. There's moments where I was a bit like, maybe you should have put your foot through it at that moment, because you've ended up conceding a throw or going back to the keeper or just
a couple of times.
Yeah, and I get that, and that'll be, but I suppose it's repetition, isn't it? It's repetition. You keep playing a certain way, and you'll only get better at it, and the players will enjoy it, and they'll take risks. But you can
still put your foot through it. If
your
general principle is to pass and play and create angles, great, got that all day. Don't go into the Martinez way of like, do it every time, no matter what. Yerry Mina in the first half, little 1-2s, and he was trying to play his way out, and in the end, he just went, no, it's going down the line, and he sent it. That's what I mean. No problem with that.
This time, but I suppose it's learning. You've got to learn from your mistakes at times, right? Not keep making mistakes. And it was only the first game, and it'll be interesting to see how it develops. But straight away, I'd say the football was a lot better, and it led to goals. And as you just said there, we got to the point, we got a bit of good football, got to Gomes getting a shot, we get a corner. And it's a straightforward corner, but what it is it's a great delivery. It's a great delivery, and if you got someone like Yerry Mina in the box, then he went and attacked it, and it was a quite...
Gomes does really well. He interacts with one of their players and gets him dragged to the shoving, pushing and shoving, and drags him away. And Mina comes in and bullets it past Raya, and you're up and running.
And it's stuff like that we've missed. Good deliveries, players knowing that they've got to be blockers, because it happens to us every week. People have got to be blockers. You bit of movement, and if it's a quality delivery that you can reproduce every time, then the player in the box knows he's got an opportunity. And it suddenly looks very simple when it's like that. You think, why? I mean, I think that might be only our second goal from a set piece at Goodison this season. I think Michael Keane scored against Burnley, I think.
No, he didn't. Sure, the secondary phase.
But
it come out, and it got to our first one.
Directly.
Well, the two set pieces were the first two, and obviously Yerry Mina's missed a lot of the season, which is probably why. We came on, unfortunately we lost Ben Godfrey after 12 minutes or something with a hamstring injury. He's going to be out for 4 or 5 weeks, it looks like, at least. And Mina had to come on, and we seen him in both boxes in the first half. First couple of corners coming from them, he went and won them and had them, and then at the other end he's the one there, because it's a good delivery and he will get you goals like that. And first time Everton took the lead at Goodison since October. Took the lead in a game since October. We don't score in the first half. I'm sure 5 times prior to that in the first half. So, the fact that we score it, the crowd's up, your manager's celebrating, which is a big thing. it is, whether we like it or...
create a bond, doesn't it?
Well, I think the thing with Frank Lampard, look, you've got to get the fans on. I think he's very savvy, knows what he's doing, but also he's just out, not long out off the pitch, not long out the dressing room. So he will celebrate because players celebrate. And I think he is that, and the fans love it, and he was buying straight into it. He was running up and down, giving it the fist pump and all that. The crowd loved that, because we've had a fella who was like, probably writing on a little piece of paper when the ball went in, or, Carlo was quite calm on the line, which is fine. You don't always have to be bouncing around, but I think, I said it in my aftermatch thing, it was probably since Duncan was celebrating, and we know how much the fans loved that day. And people loved it when Martinez would do it, and people loved it when Moyes, you see Moyes like taking coats off and throwing them to the floor, or telling people to F off or whatever in celebration. To see Lampard doing it on day one on the side, I think it was great, and that just cemented that bomb. But it was a lovely thing to go a goal up in a game of football. Crazy.
Yeah, and obviously that's what we deserved. Settled the nerves as well of a lot of people, and seeing a score like that, goal like that. And obviously, got to half time, come out to half time, and we scored a second quite early on, and it's a lovely goal as well. Lovely run by Richarlison.
The pass.
And then a great ball by Allen. He'd done that a few times during the game, hadn't he? Just popped up in that little bit of space. Just popped up in that little bit of space and drove forward. It's a great ball. I don't know what the goalie's doing. I don't know why.
Well, he's come out to narrow the angle, because Richarlison's the defender let him run. He's away from him.
I don't know what the goalie's doing. It's a terrible goalkeeping. But anyway, it's a great finish.
That's what happens, isn't it?
It's a great finish. And it gives us, again, just puts us in that comfortable zone where people can start feel like they can enjoy the game then, rather than sitting there worried. And because it's been so long since we've, won games of football at Goodison. It's been nearly 2 months on, Saturday since we'd won a game at Goodison Park. And before that, you go back to September, and I can't feel comfortable for that moment. Just for that moment, started to feel a little bit comfortable. But then, again, out of nowhere, one half decent pass into the box because what they did after they scored the goal, actually, is Brentford for 5 minutes did just step up a little bit, just got on the front foot a little bit, and we didn't sort of match it for that 5 minutes, and again one straight ball into the box which no one sees, and I'm not quite sure what Jordan Pickford, again, keepers, they can be so rash at times.
They make a decision, don't they?
Stand them up.
They make a decision. And
I'm not blaming him.
They get it wrong. No,
he'd actually lost the ball. That's what makes.
Tony kicked it out.
He'd actually lost it.
It was terrible, actually. It took it miles away. I just do want to go back to the goal a minute, because Alan, that passes. I mean, we saw Saturday kind of like the player that he was at Napoli. Someone who'd travel with the ball and play those through balls. And we hadn't really seen that much of it for Everton, because he's done different things. But I just thought he enjoyed himself on Saturday. He got on the ball a lot more, obviously feeling confident from the manager that he can do it, that trust to take the ball. And he just opens his body, and it's what Richarlison gives you, that Dom doesn't give you, those kind of spinning and running in behind. And it's a great ball with his left foot. Alan just curls it into the path, and Litzy finishes it brilliantly, and you have got that. And then you're right, I think what it was I think Everton just thought 2-0. These haven't laid the glove on us, and they dropped, not like dropped miles off, but the intensity just dropped a little bit. I think we thought we'll just get our foot on the ball a bit, and they done that classic thing of like 2-0. We've got nothing to lose here, and they get them in. But Pickford, he should have just stood them up, because if the lad manages to dink it beyond them, then that's the way it is. If defenders, you've got to point out for letting Tony run. Doesn't, he goes down, and from where I was, I thought he dived, because I thought first of all he must be offside, because he was on his own, but he wasn't offside. And then it looked like he went down very easy. And when I've watched it again, he does go down a bit easy, but it is a penalty. He does catch him. There's no question about it. But he didn't really have to do it.
And you're thinking then, aren't you? Because you're thinking we've been so in control of this game,
and they're back in it.
And they're back in this game.
And Tony, he's great at penalty.
Yeah, they don't deserve to. They didn't deserve to be back in the game whatsoever.
They'd only add up to that point. I think they'd had one shot in the
Yeah, one
first
shot in the
half that
first
Pickford
half.
made a good save from. That he should save, but it was a good save. He hadn't nearly had anything else, and it's Tony slots it, and it's 2-1, you think. Okay, what
How
have
do
we
we
got
respond?
Here? But you know what, though? One would have thought, and Holgate, Mason Holgate's referenced this, the crowd didn't drop and go edgy. They just stayed with the team, and it enabled us to get control of the game again straight away. But it was, I mean, the third goal was if you ever wanted a blueprint for pressing the ball, this was it, wasn't it?
Yeah, obviously the keeper's on the ball, plays a normal pass out, and the lad takes a slightly heavy touch, and it allows Anthony Gordon to get on him. But Anthony Gordon's on him, that's the point.
Like Leighton.
Anthony Gordon's on him, and he wants to make the tackle.
Makes the block
Where
tackle,
far too many times, when we criticise it all the time, players stand off. And this is the difference between the best teams.
That's why top sides get goals like this all the time.
The difference, because if this is Man City, this is what they do every week.
Liverpool.
They're all over it. And it's far. And this is the thing. It's far too easy. If the goalie gives that lad the ball and the lad just comes out of it, nobody says anything. Nobody thinks you've made a mistake. But this is where the top coaches are like, no, why are you allowing him to come out? Because not only can he come out and start building the play up, that's an opportunity. And Anthony Gordon, luckily, he's on it straight away. Takes it off and does really well, puts a decent ball in. I think it's the Mari Gray, isn't it? Mari Gray gets a and the lad gets a block on it. Ball comes in, great corner again. Again, people, Gomes, Yerry Mina, force some mistakes.
Yeah.
You know, Yerry Mina's got on a little battle with someone, but it's off the ball. Luckily, the referees, let it go, and because there was nothing really there, but you know what they're like.
Yeah.
And we force a mistake, and Holgate's on it really quick.
Good reaction.
And it's 3-1. And we're all I'm looking to see, he's going to give something. Because I thought actually he was offside at first. I thought we'd headed the ball. But he's given, and you're 3-1 up, and you've got regained control, and you've put them back 2 goals behind and took the sting out of the game. But it's through hard work. It's through players' desire. It's through savviness off a corner. It's off a good delivery. It's things that have been obviously put into them in the last week.
Well, of course, and Gordon closes that down. Brilliant block tackle. Doesn't just let the tackle go. He's onto the ball and away from the lad. He doesn't hang around to go, is he coming back for me? He's away from him and cuts it back. Gray has the shot. And from that, you score. Gordon's giving it the all to the Gladys Street, and the old Anthony Gordon song comes out, and the ball comes in, and we're 3-1, and it's total control. And from then, it was easy, as comfortable a game as Everton will ever have. I think the last, whatever it was, 25 minutes.
Just sticking with Anthony Gordon, though, he was great, wasn't he?
He was sensational the weekend.
Just his work rate and his enthusiasm, and obviously he would have got a big boost by starting the game with a new manager. That's huge for him.
He had a run, didn't he, early on? He cut in, and it was like I'll just lift it towards the goal. It wasn't with that much conviction, but it had Raya backpedaling, just went over.
Oh, it was an effort,
but that's what I'm saying. But he's cut in, and it wasn't necessarily he was beating 4 or 5 men and getting. It was just his application. He's quick and direct, and he never stops. And because of that, he's really gone up unbelievable this season. And Rafa Benitez, fair play to him, has improved them at that.
Yes.
There'd be no, you'd have to say that. Obviously, Duncan Ferguson working with him, doing some stuff. Frank Lampard's come and give him that confidence as well. And the biggest compliment you can give is he's a first team player. Yeah. He's one of the lads you think he needs to play. I
thought in the first half, we're just going to look at his numbers in a minute, but I thought in the first half, I thought him and Damari Gray just sort of were just trying to get to grips of what their roles were in the team. At times they weren't always, it almost felt like they needed to switch over or something. They weren't quite in the game, but second half, again, like everybody else, I thought they just went up a level. They all got to grips with where they needed to be, how we were going to move the ball between the lines, who was going to drop back, take the ball, who was, when they were going to run with the ball. It all just started to click into place a little bit better, and fair play to him.
I thought Gray was decent in the first half as well in terms of running with it. He's the threat. He's the one when he picks it up, you get on the edge of your seat. But Gordon's got the other side as well. Now, and the pair of them pressed really well with the Charlison, and in the second half they were linking up. They had that little move where they were flicking it to each other, and once you see those partnerships happening on the pitch, you start getting confidence that's what they're building on in training. It looked like there was a lot of link play going on, where at times watching everything. And listen, it's important not to go overboard because it was one game of football, but there was clear patterns of play that.
No, that's what I mean. No, you could see the patterns playing in the second
so,
half.
No.
The first half,
I agree.
It was a bit more.
Really.
It was off the cuff.
Yeah.
But I thought second half you could see that pattern.
Yeah.
Whereas first half, the Gray and Gordon do what they always do.
Yeah,
but I just thought it felt
joined up.
It felt joined up. Let's just have a little look at Gordon's numbers.
Yeah, 45 touches, 89% pass accuracy, completed 100% of his dribbles 3 out of 3, 1 key pass, and completed 100% of his crosses.
Yeah.
But it's they're obviously very good numbers, 89% pass accuracy when you're playing in the position that he plays in, and dribbles are hugely important for wide players. But it was all the other stuff that he did, and he was on for 70 minutes. Got a standing ovation when he went off. You could see him smirking. He was enjoying himself. Frank Lampard, after the game, talked about that moment when he wins the block tackle through pressing and we get a corner and score from it. Said he's a great lad. I love working when he's a hard worker. All of that will just help him grow. He's got there's evidence there. See, if you go and press the ball, that's what we get. Even for the team, if you're Frank Lampard, or the coaches, Joe Edwards, whoever it may be, coming in and you're saying to these players, we're playing this high press intensity game. And on day one, you get evidence of what happens when you do it. That's evidence. That's something they can sit down with today and go, or yesterday when they watched the game back, look what happens when you press. We got a goal. They were in control, Brentford. The keeper rolls it out to the lad. They're in control of the ball. He can do whatever they want. You're on them like a shot. You've won the ball and we score from it. Like you said before, top teams do that. Yeah. That's what you need. And Anthony Gordon is brilliant at doing that pressing from the front. You said something before, which was absolutely right. More than one person when pressing. Whereas what Everton have done poorly over the last couple of years is they've tried to press at times, but it's one going. I'll go and you don't come with me. So they pass it around me. I'm at the game, and it looks disjointed, and Alan's found this at times. Alan's gone to try to press the ball, and no one's gone with him, and they've just gone bing, bing behind them, and they're away. Where on Saturday, it did seem to be a cohesive team. At times, it wasn't perfect, and I imagine there'll be loads of times through the rest of the season when it isn't perfect, but you're trying to change a culture, you're trying to put something in, everybody's gone, I want to see a style of play. I want to see a roadmap for this team, whatever. This manager, these coaches, I think, will have one.
But let's have a little look at Grays while we're talking about them.
So, Damari Gray, 49 touches. He's passing accuracy a little bit less than Gordon at 85%. He completed 5 out of his 7 dribbles. Big chances created, 1. And obviously had the assist for Yerry Mina's goal in the first half. For me, he has been an incredible signing for Everton. 1.6 million. He's been absolutely fantastic. Most games, if not every game he's played, he's a threat. He's the one you look to. And I think the exciting thing for me, I don't know whether you're going to agree, but the exciting thing for me when you look at the squad now is that as you add more quality into that squad, it gives people like Damari Gray that little bit more room, which is why when you get these top teams, these players are able to be fantastic, because when you're playing against a Manchester City or a Liverpool or a Chelsea, you're like, we can't concentrate on one because they got him and him, so we have to be a team. And I think Everton sometimes have been too easy. It's Luca Dean, stop Luca Dean with crossing, or stop Richarlison and you've solved it.
I think
stop, and I think the more of those we get,
and I think as a pair, I think Gordon and Gray, for me, are more of a pair where you look at them and think these are going to be more difficult to stop. I mean, the irony is Townsend comes on and scores, and it's a lovely goal.
Weapon.
It's a lovely goal. 3 subs coming on and scoring. But Townsend on one side and Gray on the other, they are different. But in some games you're going to need 2 of the same, just on different sides, just just so the opposition...
Gordon's a direct runner. Townsend isn't.
That's what I'm saying. You need two of a kind, so you can, so the opposition are like, well, hang on, what do we do here? And they're going to swap over and they're going to create trouble for us. Where Townsend creates a different kind of thing. A bit more sort of control and you will keep the shape a little bit more, but
work rate is excellent.
Yeah. So it's he's got. I mean, listen, the manager's suddenly going to find himself with a lot of tough decisions to make over the team because of course Dele Alli and Van der Beek are going to come into the side. So he's suddenly got a lot of.
And then talking about wide plays, El Ghazi
and Don. So suddenly top end of the pitch, we look like we've got a lot. It's defensively where we're still short, and obviously losing Godfrey's a blow and that kind of thing.
I think the manager's got lots of options though. I know we've lost Godfrey, and obviously we've got no Decore for another month. So they're two big blows. So they're two lads who probably get into your best 11, but then maybe because we're developing a bit more of a squad, maybe there won't be a best 11 now. So
no, and there shouldn't be a best 11. There should absolutely not be a best 11. But my man of the match for the game was Andre Gomes, who really rolled back the years in this game, went back to the kind of player he was before, certainly when he was on loan and before he got the injury. And I think
confidence again.
If you're talking about benefiting from the way we played and moving the ball through midfield, he benefited massively, didn't he? He was brilliant all game.
Yeah, he grew into it. I think his influence grew in the game. I think early on, like I said before, there was a bit of hesitancy with him in the opening 10 or 15 minutes to travel with the ball. In fact, one of Brentford, the only real good chance they had, which Pickford saved, was come from him not tracking a runner off him. Yeah. And a couple of players told him, you've got to go with the player. You can't switch off and go, oh, I'm standing in a defensive position. If you run off me, I've got to go with you. But then when he got on the ball, he proved what we know, that in there's a good footballer. He's strong. He was taking the ball in tight areas. He was coming out with the ball. People were bouncing off him, which we'd seen in his first season. And he used the ball really well. And he worked really hard, which is a big thing. And he had an excellent game. You're right. I think I give him man of the match as well on my thing, because he put a lot of stuff together at the shot, which got us the corner for the first goal, and he got better and better.
I think for me it was just the fact that he was doing the thing which we saw early on in his Everton career, which was under pressure, not being flustered, keeping the ball, not panicking under pressure, and just keeping the ball and keeping moves alive. And we go back to the Arsenal game, in the last minute, him driving with the ball, keeping the ball, not just kicking it anywhere, getting it into Damari Gray, goes on to score. And there was a lot of that on Saturday where he just used his strength, he used his body, and he just turned people and then moved. And it was quick passing at times as well. And he was so instrumental. And again, because it was a 2, wasn't it? It was just a 2 again.
Well, I was going to say,
he was crying out for a 3 and he played 2.
Alan and Gomes.
And yet it worked. It worked because of the people around them.
Well, it is, but it's also because we had control of the ball. So, they're the two that most people would have feared that you plays it to, is Alan and Gomes, because they haven't got the legs. But they didn't need the legs because they used the ball really well. And they were getting help from people around them. And if you all work together, you see some midfielders in the Premier League and go, God, he can't run him. Yet they never struggle because the whole team works around. Look at Romeo at Southampton, who people think is a good defensive midfielder. He's so slow, it's incredible. Plays every week and plays well in a lot of games. Danny Drinkwater for Leicester wasn't the quickest, but when they all worked together, I know we had Kante with them, but when they all worked together, he was fine. He got a move to, okay, it's not worked out since he's left Leicester, but he done well there. There's lots of players who you would say, well, he's not really quick, he'll struggle, but because they're all as a unit together, it works. Everton, maybe if you're playing a counter-attacking game, or you're trying to play a bit more direct, those two may struggle in a 2 together. But if you're having more of the ball, and listen, that they won't get away with it every week, them two. You will have to mix it up. But just at the weekend, because they used the ball really well, Gomes was instrumental. He bought us time. He was prepared to put his foot on the ball. and he was passing right foot, left foot, and he just kept everything going. So it was brilliant to see him back.
Yeah, let's have a look at his numbers.
97 touches,
Incredible.
which is incredible. 83% passing accuracy. Dribbles completed 100% of them, 4 out of 4. Duels won 9 out of 14, which is a lot for Andre Gomes. Normally not great off the ball. And tackles 2, which again is a lot for Andre Gomes. And who knows, maybe having this kind of coaching staff to put confidence in him, build him up.
Yeah.
We know that he's had issues with his own self-belief.
Yeah. Clearly, there's a very, very good technical football, and we've always known that. But for obvious, and this is where with football, it's more than just. It is more than just kicking a ball, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's more than just the talent. It's putting it all together. It's having people who understand how you want to play. You know, it's so much bigger than just players going out on a Saturday or a Sunday or a Monday or a Friday or whatever, and just doing it. There's
Not
so
just the 90
yeah,
minutes.
it's so many facets, and he was fantastic on Saturday. He really was. And
Instrumental.
Man of the match, and be interesting to see. Well, obviously with our midfield situation, obviously there's not many more really. There's only those two at the moment, and Jean-Philippe Gabam, who can play centre midfield. So
Did you think he was going to come on? He warmed up a lot, didn't he?
again, another manager who.
Well, I guess what they'll do is they'll have a good look. I don't think the circus window closes tomorrow, I think. I don't think he's going to go out because of the injuries we've got. So the coaching staff will have a look at him, won't they? And if they've only been here a few days.
No, of course, listen, it's first
up to
game.
him.
It was always going to be tried and tested for first game. It'll be over the next weeks and months where the manager starts looking at plays and thinking, well, actually, you do fill that role, or you fill that role, or I think I can get something out of you. Jean-Philippe Gabam might knock on his door and go, you know, I can play centre-back, don't you?
Yeah, I can play.
You know, I remember when Gabam's agent was saying his best position centre-back, and that's where he wants to play ultimately. And who knows, one day...
He played there for Ivory Coast, didn't he?
Who knows, who knows. But they'll all get, I'm sure we'll all get a fair crack at the whip now, but it was just great. It was great to be there. It was great to witness a good display, a comfortable ending. Because, I mean, I must admit, even at 3-1, I was still a little bit nervous, even though they hadn't done anything. But that's just...
Well, they got a couple of corners, didn't he? And you're thinking, if they had one in here now, it's, 3-2, it's game on again. But Everton dealt with everything really well. And I didn't notice... we certainly didn't do full zonal, because I was looking at it when we were defending it, because I was in the Gladys Street, and I was looking at, we weren't zonal, but I don't know whether we were part zonal, because I know that Lampard had done different
Paul
things.
Clement shouting, stay on your toes, stay on your toes. But what about it, just before we finish, little thing you sent me about Ashley Cole upstairs, doing the old earpiece and all the live the live analytics as it was going along.
That's brilliant though, isn't it? Yeah. Because that's, again, it's thinking, isn't it? It's more, if you've got to use every bit, every tool available to you. They've got good coaching staff there. There's lots of them there. Ashley Cole knows the game inside out. He played at the highest level. We know he's a highly rated coach. That's just an extra facet.
And if anyone's watched the I think it's on the Bayern Munich documentary, and I think there might be a little bit in the Dortmund documentary, but it's certainly in the Bayern Munich documentary. That you see this so much, the guy coming in at half time with the laptop, going like that to the manager straight away, and then going over to each individual player, live tactics as they're happening in real time.
Well, it can just be something like that full-back drifts out of there's a gap there, or that the centre-backs are not, or the midfielders not picking running, that area. Just little things like that where you go out for a second half and think, I can make that run. Who knows? Ashley Cole could have said, there's a huge gap between the left-back and the centre-back there for the Charles, try and get it in. I'm saying that happened, but that's what you see.
And you see this in, I mean, I'm talking about the documentary, you see this in a lot of, like, big in, like, NFL, it's big in rugby union. Guy up in the stands watching it as it's going on and seeing the patterns of play and saying, these are doing this, or these are doing that. You might be able to see it down there, but this is what they're doing. We need to correct it, or this is how we're going to get it. And I'm watching this fullback keeps on drifting on. And
Sam Allardyce did.
No, he did. He was a big component.
Shakespeare up there, didn't he, doing the same thing.
He did.
I just think anything we can do like that, any little advantage we can eke out, we should do it.
Absolutely. Let's just look at the stats.
Everton 4-1, obviously. 14 shots to 4. 5 on target for the Blues, 2 for Brentford. 4 big chances for Everton. Need to show Thomas Frank that. 2 for Brentford. 56% possession. Everton 480 completed passes. Just used the ball more.
Yeah.
There was more. I think Everton had 11 key passes to Brentford's 2. It's not on there. But and Everton tried more passes as well and had a higher passing accuracy. So if you're talking about stylistics on day one, it was there to see what Frank Lampard's gonna try and play. And more importantly, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Just shows you when Goodison is like that, fans were brilliant, loud, singing most of the way through the game. And I think when you create that atmosphere, I always think it's like really important on day one to show the manager and new coaches what it can be like. And I always think when you've got players like Dele Alli and Donny van der Beek sat in the stands, hearing that and seeing what it can be like, it gives you a marker rather than it's flat and it's like, oh, we've got to make them do it. The crowd massively played their part of the weekend. And look what happened. Everton, Frank Lampard's got the highest ever win by a manager in his first game. We'd scored 4 goals for the first time in just under 3 years at home. That when we've been there, we've got a great tie in the next round. You know, we play Bournemouth at Goodison Park in the 5th round, which is a midweek game apparently. Which is
it will
all
be a midweek
ties. So we scored 2 set pieces for the first time in a game. Mason Holgate and Yerry Mina, the first time they've scored since whatever it was, 2019 or 2020. There's just a lot of things that were very positive and the fans were massive in that, so outstanding.
Good day all round, quick turnabout of course, Newcastle Tuesday night, so quick turnabout and we'll see what happens there. So there we go, into the next round, Bournemouth at home.
Great.
19-0, I couldn't care less, batter them.
And then we'll clap them off.
Yeah, then we'll clap them off. There you go. Thank you for watching. If you want to watch this live and get extra content, join our Patreon. We are live now on Patreon and we're sticking around on Patreon for a little bit. So make sure you check that out. Give this video a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you want Patreon, make sure to click the link in the description and on the screen right now.